Hello kids, hope you all are well at home. So guys, I am ready and hope you also ready. You are sitting with your books in front of you. So today we start our class with the third chapter from part A, the book name Contemporary World Politics, and chapter number third, New Centers of Power. In your old book, according to old curriculum, the chapter number is 4 and the name is Alternative Centers of Power. Clear? Some new amendments are also in this chapter. Side by side I will inform you when we cover that module. So firstly we will begin this chapter with the objectives. We divide the chapter into 8 parts regarding the objectives. Means that why we study this chapter as new centers of power. Firstly, give the importance of European Union as new centers of power. Explain ASEAN Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Give detailed description of Chinese economy. What are the objectives of BRICS? Explain it. It is new one. Explain the role of Russia as a nation. Explain the importance of Israel from the viewpoint of new centers of power. Give the detail about SAARC as mentioned in organization's point of view. What is the important role of India as new power of centers as a nation? So well guys, these are the objectives of the chapter. When we study the chapter side by side, we cover all these objectives. It's very important to understand these objectives while reading the chapter. So next we cover with the mind map of this chapter. So for this, new centers of power, I divide it into 8 parts. European Union means EU, ASEAN, Association of Southeastern Asian Nations, SAARC, BRICS, Nation, Russia, China, Israel, India. So the new amendments which is not mentioned in your book, no need to panic or worry. I am here to help you. I will provide you in the form of PDF file all this content. So all these parts are very important, we cover in this chapter. So well guys, we start our chapter. For it you have to be come with the book, and for this you have to be start it. Here I already mentioned chapter name, New Centers of Power. After the end of bipolar structure of world politics, when we already studied in the second chapter end of bipolarity, after the end of bipolar structure of world politics in the early 1990s, it became clear that alternative centers, mean new centers of political and economic power, could limit America's dominance, means US hegemony, which is earlier including in your topic curriculum as third US hegemony, but now some topic from that chapter included in second chapter end of bipolarity, which we already discussed. Or if not by any other student have doubt regarding it, we will discuss after the lockdown. So here, thus in Europe, the European Union EU, and in the Asia, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations have emerged as forces to reckon with, while evolving regional solutions to their historical enmities and weaknesses. Both the EU and the ASEAN have developed alternative institutions and conventions that build a more peaceful and cooperative regional order. Regional means that area wise, and have transformed the countries in the region into prosperous economies. The economic rise of China has made a dramatic impact on world politics. In the chapter, we take a look at some of these emerging alternative centers of power and assess their possible role in the future. So well guys, during COVID-19 this time period, you know that the how China already and how others countries already through whatever happened in today world. All it's a globally disease which we all suffer. That's why we are already at our homes in the period of that COVID-19 lockdown. So but according to this chapter we get to know about the China and China's healthy role there. But nowadays the time things are changed. It depends how we can or any other country can have handshakes with China or not. That is later thing, but according to current situation it's not possible. But let's see from the viewpoint of this chapter, because after US hegemony we can see that there are the three main organizations which emerged to overcome with the US regarding or to compete with the US powerful country at that time period, superpowers, as we already knew from the Cold War and the end of the bipolarity system. And here from the some content regarding the US hegemony and the types of hegemony and then the unipolar world. So here we can say that these are the three among those organizations which already give answers which compete with the US. So here I already mentioned that SAARC and BRICS are the new topics. India and Israel from the nation side we have to be study as Russia. So for this through the picture we can, I just want to show that the two images here represent two phases of the history of China. The red poster, the socialist road, is the broadest of all, represents the ideology that guided China during its early phase after the revolution. The photograph below is that of the city of Shanghai, the symbol of China's new economic power. Clear guys? So now next is European Union. We have to be discussed in it. In the early 1990s, after the end of the bipolar structure of world, the European Union and Southeast Asian nations have emerged as force to reckon with. After the Second World War, Europe shattered the assumptions and structures on which the European states had based their relations. In 1945, the European states confronted the ruin of their economies and the destruction of the assumption and structures on which Europe had been founded. To revive European Union, the US introduced Marshall Plan. Marshall Plan means that to help the US to revive their economy, to establish Organization for European Economic Cooperation, OEEC. In 1948, I mark it for you. You can take that help and you can underline in your books also too. Through this, Western European states began to cooperate on trade and economic issues. EU established on 1st November 1993. It was a group of European capitalist countries with a common foreign and security policy, cooperation on justice and home affairs, and creation of single currency, and also has its own flag. Here the importance of that flag is that to immerse solidarity and harmony between the people of Europe. It has 12 stars as the number 12 is traditionality and the symbol of perfection, completeness and unity itself. Clear? Here one question appears: what is the important role of EU? What are its major key points? Strategies to be in the race of new centers of power. How EU compete with other countries. And next question is: define the term Marshall Plan. I have already cleared you here the points already for your help. So after this, OEEC we have to be discussed about it. So for this, the EU has economic, political, diplomatic and military influence as the EU in the world's biggest economy, which gives its influence over its closest neighbors and in Asia and Africa, and it functions as an important bloc in International World Economic Organization as the World Trade Organization. In political and diplomatic influences, two members of EU, Britain and France, hold permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council, which is very, very important. As well as non-permanent members in UNSC, which enabled to influence the US policies, that is current position on Iran's nuclear program, use of diplomacy, economic investment in case of a dialogue with China on human rights and environmental degradation. So military EU, the EU's combined armed forces are the second largest in the world of spending, second after the US and Britain, and France also have nuclear arsenal, means military weapons, and it is the most important source of space and communication technology also. Britain favored the US-Iraq invention while other members of EU like Germany and France opposed it. All these limits the ability of the EU to act in matters of foreign relations and defence. Britain's former Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher kept the UK out of the European market. Denmark and Sweden have resisted Maastricht Treaty and the adoption of the euro, common European currency. So all these things are very, very important from the viewpoint of this to study. I have already cleared these points from this EU, but here firstly the older and new members of the EU. For this we have to be studied from it through the help of the map. The older members and the new members already highlighted, older with the purple and the new members with the orange. These are the Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary are new members countries and remaining are older member countries. So these are very, very important, and this is the timeline of European integration which is already mentioned on page number 64. What happened in these time periods you have to be read. These are very, very important points in the form of 1 mark question. Clear guys? So here we have already covered with the European Union as the 3 main parts like the military and the economic part. These are known as the pillars of the EU to overcome with the other US hegemony and to compete with it. So this was regarding the EU. Now we have to be discussed about Association of Southeast Asian Nation. So firstly we can read, then we can know from the questions what we have to be from it. So firstly, before and during the Second World War, Southeast regions of Asia suffered economic political consequences of repeated colonialism, as well as at the end of war it confronted with the problems of nation building, which gave birth to Association of Southeast Asian Nations, popularly known as ASEAN, for uniform cooperation and interaction. Clear guys? So here ASEAN was established in 1967. Underline it. By 5 countries of this region: Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore and Thailand, by signing the Bangkok Declaration. That is mentioned in the next page. Firstly we have to be study from there the question, what is the full form of ASEAN, and the answer already itself clear. And second is what is Bandung Conference. We have to be studied from there. I highlight it for you guys. The Southeast Asia could still afford efforts at the Asian and the Third World unity, such as the Bandung Conference meeting and the NAM non-aligned movement, were the effective in establishing the convention for informal cooperation and interaction. Hence, the Southeast Asian alternative by establishing the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. ASEAN was established in 1967. I have already cleared you just now. So here the objective of the Asian Economic Community are to create a common market and production base within Asian states, and to help social and economic development in the area region. Asian Vision 2020 encourages negotiations. Negotiations means that to peacefully settlements with the other countries over the conflicts in the region by mediating the end of Cambodian conflict, East Timor crisis, and meets annually to discuss East Asian cooperation. In recent years, India has also tried to make arrangements with ASEAN by signing free trade areas with 2 Asian members, Singapore and Thailand, underline, as well as signed on FTA with ASEAN itself. So here we can see that the Asian, the pillars of the Asian are Asian Security Community, Asian Economic Community and the Asian Socio-Cultural Community. In the ASEAN logo, the 10 stalks of paddy means cultivation of rice. Importance on agriculture represent the 10 Southeast Asian countries. It has the importance, means that the symbol shows that the 10 Southeastern countries bound together, united in friendship and solidarity. The circle symbolizes the unity of Asian source. Clear? As we have studied from the EU point is that to establish harmony and solidarity through the flag, and they have their own currency euro differently. So here we have to be discussed about all these things. Now we have to be know about that. One question is there, how EU is different from Asian. So when you studied from this Asian, because we have already clear about the module of EU we have already studied. Now the Asian security community was based on the conviction that outstanding territory disputes should not escalate into armed confrontation. By 2003, ASEAN had several agreements in place by which member states promised to uphold peace, neutrality, cooperation. MARCIT, the Asian Regional Forum, which was established in 1994, is the organization that carries out coordination of security and foreign policy. MARCIT, ASEAN was and still remains principally an economic association, means economically related with the money finances, while the Asian region as a whole is much smaller economy compared to the US and the EU, Japan. Here we have to be discussed about it, and when we have to be discussed this, we have to be know about the economy is growing much faster than all these. These accounts for the growth and in its influence. This accounts for the growth in its influence both in the region and beyond. The objectives of the Asian Economic Community are to create a common, these are the objectives, common market and production base within Asian states, and to help social economic development in the region. Already we have discussed about the FTA, investment free trade area, and now its vision 2020. Already I have cleared it from the topic last previous pages. The current economic strength of ASEAN, especially its economic investment partner to the growing Asian economies such as India and China, makes this an attractive proposition during the Cold War. Pay adequate means much attention to ASEAN, but in recent years India has tried to make amendments means the changes. It signed trade agreements with 3 Asian members, Malaysia, Singapore and Thailand. For it we have to be studied. One question is there, name the members who signed trade agreements. 3 members I have already cleared you from there, Malaysia, Singapore and Thailand. Firstly I have covered this cartoon based picture also here. Here from the cartoon we can get to know that India's policy towards ASEAN. Look East policy since 1991, they have to be interact with ASEAN, China, Japan, South Korea. Competition among various countries to develop potential relations with ASEAN. This picture shows that India's strategy towards using free trade areas with ASEAN. Clear guys? So now next is page number 68 we have to be studied. Asian India FTA came into effect in 2010. Asian's strength, however, lies its policies of interaction and consultation with member states, with dialogue partners and with other non-regional organizations. It is the only regional association in Asia and provides a political forum where Asian countries and the major powers can discuss political security concerns. So now we have to be discussed in detail about ASEAN and EU. Now we have to be discussed about China, the rise of the Chinese economy. Let us now turn to the third major alternative center of power as organization and our immediate neighbor, China. The cartoon on the following page sums up the current mood all over the world about the rise of China as an economic power. China's economic success since 1978 has been linked to its rise as a great power. China has been the fastest growing economy. We already knew that because of the cheapest rates available in the market of China's product. It is projected to overtake the US as the world's largest economy by 2040. We know that the US already denoted as a superpower, but when as soon as the China show their participation and with the economic, it is not denied that in 2040 these are the assumption that they become the largest economy and rule over the world. Its economic integration into the region makes it is the driver of East Asian growth, thereby giving it enormous means in a large amount of influence in regional affairs. The strength of its economy together with other factors such as population, land mass, resources, regional location, and political influence adds to its power in significant ways. Yes guys, these are the elements how a country is prosperous and becoming more successful in every department, every field, like whether economic, political, social. All these things are important. Population plays a very important role there, and how they can take it as their resource. After the inception of the People's Republic of China in 1949, following the Communist Revolution under the leadership of Mao, its economy was based on the Soviet model from the Russia. If you remember from the second chapter, we get to know that US adopted the ideology of democracy and capitalism, and Russia adopted the ideology model of socialism and based upon communism. So China also taken the help from it. The economically backward communist China chose to sever its links with the capitalist world. It had little choice to fall back on its own resources and for a brief period on Soviet help and advice. The model was to create a state-owned heavy industry sector from the capital accumulated from agriculture, as it was short of foreign exchange that it needed in order to buy technology and goods on the world market. China decided to substitute imports by domestic goods. The model allowed China to use its resources to establish the foundation of an industrial economy as well as social welfare, and moved social welfare was assured to all citizens, and China moved ahead of most developing countries in educating its citizens and ensuring better health for them. The economy also grew a respectable rate of 5-6%. These are the GDPs according to the economic level, and how they are working, how they can take benefits from the population, how they involve population in agriculture sector also. So here two questions are appear: which model has its ideology adopted by China? And next one is how China emerged as more powerful than US. So these are the answer you have to be get from this page. So after this we have to be read it, generate a surplus of for industries. So in chapter 2 we discuss the crisis of the state control economy in the USSR guys, but China learned a lesson from there and they started a open door policy. Means that from the failure disintegration of USSR, how USSR suffered from the shock therapy, how industry sale on 90%, everything you have studied in the second chapter. But now the thing is that the third organization emerged like alternative center, those who compete with the new center of power, who compete with US and USSR. They have taken the example from there, China, and they started with the open door policy. Open door policy means that any country can allow to start business with other country. Means any other country, China welcome them to be come in their country and start the business. Clear? So this was the China's policy regarding it. So here the new economic policy, I already mark it with red circle here. Next paragraph, the new economic policies help the Chinese economy to break from stagnation. The Chinese economy, including both industry and agriculture, grew at a faster rate because of the development and compete with others. The new trending laws and the creation of special economic zones SEZs market led to phenomenal rise in foreign trade. China has become the most important destination for foreign direct investment in FDI. Anywhere in the world, it has a large foreign exchange reserves that now allow it to make big investment in other countries. Regionally and globally, China is going to be recognized as an economic power due to contributory factors, that is integration and interdependency have tempered its issues with Japan, US, ASEAN, Russia, Taiwan. Even China's outward-looking investment and help policies in Latin America and Africa are projecting it as a global player. So here we have to be discussed in detail about the China policy, and here one diagram, or you can say that in the form of cartoon we have to be see. Here the cartoon represents that it is related with China because of the Great Wall of China, and the dragon and the Great Wall helped in identifying the country, means that it is China. And if you remember, I already cleared you that it is assumed by other countries that how China gradually in the race appeared as a new center of economy, new center of power, how they can from gradually with speedily in 2040 rule over the whole world through their economic level. This cartoon conveys a message to the world that China is emerging as a great economic power. So here these are the important things we have to be understand from this module regarding the China set special economic zone. These are the important features of the China. Here one question appears: what is open door policy? What is an open door policy? I have already cleared you. Now from the next one more picture shows about that the China, how it clears that from this picture we get to know about that China's role and overcome with the capitalist model and the socialist, how they can compile it. Like WTO in 2001 has been further step in its opening to the outside world. The country plans to deepen its integration into the world economy and shape the future world economic order. While the Chinese economy has improved dramatically, not everyone in China has received the benefits of the reforms. Unemployment, see guys, if there is development, I already clear you, some problems also emerged. Now if China's one side on the growing path, but due to the increasing level of the population, unemployment also emerged there. And when unemployment emerged there, then you can see that 100 million people looking for jobs, female employment and conditions. These are the negative points of the China which are harmful for it, for their economy, are as bad as in Europe of the 18th and 19th centuries. Environmental degradation and corruption have increased besides the rise in economic inequality between rural and urban residents and coastal and inland provinces. However, regionally and globally, China has become an economic power to reckon with. The integration of China's economy interdependent on both the sides. When we are saying that with the Asian, Russia and US, I have already cleared these points to you. Now guys, well, this module India-China relations, we have to be covered in it. India and China's relations, it's a very important part. Here we know that the Indo-China were great powers in Asia before the advent of Western imperialism. Indo-China relations experienced friendly gestures. Slogan of Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai was popular. But 1950 onwards, both the nations were involved in the differences on the issues of Tibet problem, border issues in Arunachal Pradesh and Aksai Chin area of Ladakh, Chinese attack in 1962 and Chinese contribution to Pakistan's nuclear program. How India's friendly relations converted into conflict or bad or diplomatic with China. It is due to border dispute, long-standing dispute over the shared 4,000 km Himalayan border that led to the 1962 Indo-China War. India says China occupies 38,000 square kilometers of territory on the Aksai Chin plateau in the western Himalayas, while China claims its right on nearly 90,000 square kilometers of land in Arunachal Pradesh. Then Tibet problem also one of the major issue for the bad and conflict relations, changing relations with China. Like India has given asylum, means shelter to Tibetans, exiled spiritual leader on the basis on the views of Dalai Lama, who fled the region after a failed 1959 uprising against China. Clear? So Tibet claims it was independent until China occupied it in 1950. It also claimed that Tibet has been off its territory for centuries. Relations between India and China began to improve slowly from the mid-1970s by a series of talks to resolve border issues in 1981. Now these relations have strategic, means diplomatically. I already cleared you guys. We have to depend upon others for our betterment or for the economic sources also, whether our neighbors like China and Pakistan, Afghanistan, others. So these are the diplomatic reasons. Resources also there, so many other parts are also there. Now the thing is that how India and China resolve their conflicts and make strategies to overcome these differences for the betterment and for the development. So they signed some treaties also, like Rajiv Gandhi is also visited to China in 1980. Atal Bihari Vajpayee's visit in 2003 have accommodated both the countries to maintain peace and tranquility on the border. So these main purpose is to establish trade between India and China, in which enjoys dominance in the global economy, has also stalled, falling to $65 billion. So here one question appears: why Rajiv Gandhi visited in China? This already cleared from the module that for the betterment of its country and the growth of its country. So here are the guys important parts also. Then the Pakistan's nuclear programs, China's military relations with them, Bangladesh, Myanmar will also including it. So all these things are emerged there as interest in South Asia. However, in the next module, next chapter, we have to be discussed about the SAARC and all these South Asia. What is South Asia and Pakistan and Indo-Pak problems, relations, Bangladesh problem, how democracy emerged in Bangladesh, conflict with Myanmar, Sri Lanka. All these things we have to be discussed there only. Here we have to be in this chapter, we have to be discussed about these two topics. You have to be deleted because it's not in this part, and then we have to be discussed till now. So guys, in this first video we have to cover European Union, ASEAN, and then China. 3 we have to be discussed in this first video. Next video we will cover with the nations. Clear? Thank you so much guys. Take care.